Hey, sports card fans, welcome back to another episode of Two Guys, One Hobby. This is our 25th episode. Don, how you doing?
Good. Yeah, I didn't realize that until you just told me that off air. That's pretty cool.
We took a little hiatus. One was asking, hey, when are you going to do? You guys going to do another episode of Two Guys, One Hobby? It was sometime in June that we did our last one with Alex Bowman 53. Well, with vacations and national, we thought
we didn't take a hiatus. You took one. It was your turn to pick somebody, so I had to wait for you for
that. That is true. But you know what?
Clear the record
I
here.
figured that with all the paparazzi around, just swarming us and all the attention, we wanted to give everyone a little bit of a break, calm down a little bit. So we were just a little tired of all the attention, so we took a little break. But we're back. And we have a great guest today. I got to know Stephen with APH really for the first time at the Strongsville show earlier this year, and really got to know him a lot more and get to spend some time with him, which was a rarity at the National for me to be able to spend time and hang out with people during the show. I think it was, he can confirm, I think it was maybe the part of the Friday and into Saturday, while he was looking for some items to pick up. And we had just a great time hanging out at the show. And I thought he would be a great guest to talk about a player that he's focused on and some of the items, cards and other memorabilia stuff that he has in his collection. And so let's introduce our guest from up north in Canada, Stephen with APH. Hi, Stephen.
Hey, John. How you doing? Don, how you doing?
Stephen, glad you're here. So I got to meet Stephen 2 Strongsville shows ago. There was only like 5 of us at the show. And he came with Mike Canadian Cards. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure you didn't have a channel at the time.
No, I did not.
Okay, that's what I thought. So I'm going to take credit for getting him to start YouTube channel.
I'm good with that.
Speaking Mike, of, we will have a link.
Mike.
Yeah, we will have a link to Stephen's channel in the description. So definitely go check Stephen's channel out if you are not subscribed or haven't watched any of his videos. So definitely go check him out. So we'll get that plug in, and we'll do another plug later. So
sounds good.
So yeah, but that Strongsville was a basically, since you brought it up, Don, was my first introduction to vintage for the most part. I mean,
really.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it all around. It's been around for many, many years. But prior to going to that, I was not much of a vintage guy outside of my Baltimore Orioles collection.
Baltimore Orioles.
Yes, I remember that.
Me too. Little did I know that'd be the last time we'd sniff a World Series. But
well, I remember that one because we were up 3-1.
Yes, you were.
And then the old We Are Family took over.
Yeah, I remember my dad letting me stay up for that last game. I could tell you every guy on that team, what their numbers were.
It was it was close as I came to crying. So, yeah.
So we had, as I mentioned in my intro, Don, you said you met Stephen 2 Strongsvilles ago. This year was my first Strongsville show, and got to hang out with Stephen a little bit. But really the National was the key in us developing our friendship, I guess, to the next level with the amount of time that we got to spend. So I thought maybe we could just briefly touch upon at least Stephen your National experience. I know I've done some recap videos. Don, you're going to be doing your own recap video as well of the National, so I won't steal any of your thunder, Don. But Stephen, just recap the National and maybe tie it into the Jackie Robinson stuff in your collection, and then we can explore more of how you get into Jackie and so on.
Yeah, well, it's the third National I've been to. I went to the one in Cleveland in 2018. I was at Atlantic City, and those two I was basically flying solo. So it was basically an experience where I went a day by myself at Atlantic City. I went the Wednesday night and the Thursday. I went down with the wife and a couple of my brother and sister-in-law. We stayed there. They could partake in the casino aspect of it. So going to this national, I didn't go to Chicago last year because I went to Strongsville. So going to this national was a big time experience for me because I was being part of a community. I was going, it was Mike Canadian Cards and we took another fellow up there from Canada that we drove there and back with. But this was the time when I was actually going to be part of a community, part of hanging out with many fellow members of our community. And I have formed some relationships through doing the video contents and talking back and forth to individuals. And Strongsville this year was the stepping stone to being a part of this community. So it was, this was super exciting. We were going down the Tuesday, coming back the Saturday. So it was, I had big excitement leading into this. Plus, with the fact that I was focusing on mainly Jackie Robinson. So that was the biggest part, was the community part, because now I'm going to be seeing all these guys I had met at Strongsville. I met Don and Chris and Scott at Strongsville the previous year. Met you guys again at this one. So that relationship had already started, but now I was meeting a bunch of other fellow members of the community. And it was, I was really excited, very excited. So
what did you think about the YouTube? You went to the YouTube get together on Thursday.
Yeah, it was overwhelming to the point there were so many people there. I mean, Don, I don't think we talked there. I mean, there's so many.
I saw you at Ash's dinner on Friday, but I don't remember seeing you at the get together.
Yeah. So it's just, there's so many people, and you start to hang out with this, and you're doing this, and you're talking to that, and you got your roommates. Don, you guys had so many of the group that you were with in your B&B. I mean, it's overwhelming to be able to do a lot of things, because you seem like every minute you were cutting it short, moving on, cutting it short, moving on, cutting it short, moving on. And this is after a couple of days of being really hectic at the shows.
Yeah, so my only regret from the National was, don't get me wrong, it was great for me to sell those cards there, but I was sort of anchored to one spot to watch the cards instead of getting, mingling around and talking to everyone. And maybe that's something I might do different in the future, or if I even bring anything in the future. But, I feel like I kind of missed an opportunity to talk to more people. But that's the biggest, craziest get together. I've been to 3 national get togethers and the one in Strongsville last year. And the other ones you could sit down and have a little bit of a conversation. It was tough this time.
Yes.
So Don, you were you over at James's table and like hanging out there, or because you didn't have your own
get together? I had
at the get together you had your little table. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, the get together was, I mean, you finally, for me, I mean, you gentlemen, both you guys have been in the community for such a long time. You've talked to so many, you've been face to face with so many because of your past get-togethers and nationals. For me, it was an introduction to sometimes putting a voice and face together. I mean, you're getting these people coming up to you, hey, I'm so-and-so, and you form that, I know who you are, but it's that first interaction, and that's happened. That's why I felt it seemed like I was seeing so many, whereas the next time, a lot of that will be more familiar with me. And but it was incredible. It was tiresome. It was incredible, and they're all such great guys. I mean, even some of the ones who haven't started a channel, and some of the ones I saw there, that I remember seeing this young boy and his father that I saw them at the show, talking to them on the floor. I mentioned about this YouTube guy, and they came, and since this young fella, and I would think he's 14, 15, and he's into the vintage,
Yep,
and started a channel, AO's Vintage Cards, Andrew. And it's just wonderful. And this is, we're getting the young kids into this, which is great for our community.
Yeah, no, it is. I had several people comment on one of my recap videos, especially the one where I recapped the Thursday where we had the YouTube get together, and so many, oh man, I it's nice to say hi to you. I wish we had more time to talk. And I was just, there was at least, I think I heard the maximum capacity was 175. I bet you we had at least 150. We may not have gone, push that max, but when you have 150 people, you just can't, in what, 2-3 hours, we were 6, maybe 4 hours, but
yeah, I forget who it was. Someone was talking to me, and they're like, we got to quit encouraging people to make channels.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, John, I mean, and just doing a fast number, and I don't know if anyone have counts, but I mean, it's certainly seen when you travel throughout the building, and then you go outside here and to the side thing, it certainly seemed like at least a couple hundred. But you don't know because of how people migrate through in and out. Yeah. But it's there was a ton of people that you could not make any direct path. You're basically doing an obstacle course moving around the room.
So many people that I had no idea who they were.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I'm still getting introduced to new people, and which is great. Yeah, I love it. So let's talk about, Stephen, your specific, I don't know, however you want to handle this, whether you want to talk about the specific Jackie pickups at the National, or whether you want to start from the beginning, how you got into Jackie. I'll leave it up to you on how you want to maybe start this discussion on Jackie Robinson.
Well, I was when I went to Strongsville, not the one last year. I went to Strongsville for the main purpose, because of the vintage, was I'm a Baltimore Oriole guy. So I had started, I would think 2 to 3 years ago, when I was basically doing a ton of hockey, being up in Canada, doing the little bit of football, just like the Tom Brady's and stuff like that. But I was mainly hockey. I've always collected Cal Ripken, and then I decided probably 3 to 4 years ago that I was going to start to go back and start collecting the Baltimore Orioles, just the regular edition cards, not a lot of the extra stuff, from 1954 to 1977. So when I went to Strongsville that first time a year ago, I needed approximately out of say 600 plus cards that would get me those years, and that's the 54, 55 Bowman, and then 54 tops all the way up to 77 tops. Is I needed approximately 370 more cards. In Strongsville that first year, I ended up picking up 330 of them.
Wow.
I went through all the set, the commons and all that stuff, and I spent a large time doing that. So I really knocked that off. But in the same time I was doing that was last year was when Mike Canadian Cards picked up his Jackie 49 Bowman there off of Ash, because he was trying to do this 49 Bowman run.
Yep.
He's now, as he has said in this video, 1 card short, and it happens to be the same card that he picked up.
Yeah,
as we all know. So, so in seeing Mike's excitement with Jackie, and seeing where I was, and I've always had a good feeling about vintage since I started getting back into it with the Orioles. Mike was pretty excited with the Jackie. I remember the Jackie movie. I know all about Jackie Robinson and all the facts behind it for the most part, right? Nothing major. And I was thinking to myself the Sunday morning, you know what? Maybe because the main reason was because Jackie didn't have a 20-year run of Topps cards.
Yeah.
He had a run from like 47-ish, 48, 49 to like when he retired in 57, so 56. Yep. I'm thinking this could be an attainable run of a really iconic individual. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking maybe I said to Mike, I says, I think I'm going to focus on Jackie Robinson. I says, I've got my Oreo cards. I got a ton of my Ripken stuff, thousands and thousands, similar to yours, not to the degree, John, with Boggs, but I have my Oreos, my Ripkins. I'm thinking I'm going to be done these probably within the next year or two.
You need something else to focus on.
So I'm thinking, listening to Mike, he picked up his 49 Jackie. I'm thinking that, and something a fire just lit in me there. That the Sunday morning when we had breakfast and we were going back just to do a couple things and then boat back to Canada, I'm thinking, you know what? I was at a gentleman's table that I was picking up a few more comments from, and I saw the Jackie Robinson, a 55 Jackie Robinson. All right, there you go.
Yeah.
So I saw the 55 Jackie Robinson. He had it in his case, and I figured to myself, I'm thinking, what a time I have enough cash on me to pick this card up. It's a start. It's not a big boy card, but it's a start. And I thought to myself,
card, in my opinion.
It's just a gorgeous card. I looked at it. I mean, it's a little off-centered, and I'm okay with that but I'm just getting into it. I'm thinking this is the card that's going to start me. And that's where it all started with Jackie. That's how it all started. And it's led me in a year plus to a really good place, which I will continue showing you some more stuff where I'm at. So that's how I got into the vintage Jackie. I mean, it's just a wonderful story.
You can blame Mike for it.
Yeah, well, Mike, and you know what? I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, you go into that show, and Don, you've been there for a while. I'm not sure if last year was your first one, if you've been there before. Strongsville.
Strongsville, that was my third time.
So you see, it is a really dynamite vintage show. The stuff, it's not just strictly cards, some of the oddball stuff, you see stuff like that. And from last year to this year, it has even grown bigger at the one we were just at. It was just being in that room, and it really, I thought to myself, from where I am in the many, many years from going back as a youth, buying a wax pack, a bunch of packs of hockey cards back in the 60s, and open them, chewing the gum, shoveling snow to go get a pack of cards. I was at a point where this was something that gave me a really good purpose moving forward in the hobby. And by this time, Mike Canadian Cards had been talking to me about starting a channel. And from there is when I started watching more videos, started getting introduced to more guys such as yourselves. And it's led me to where I am now. And I cannot, it's hard to express how much is so much purpose in my life right now. Obviously outside of families, I mean, everything would go if I need to for family. I think we're all in that type of boat also. But I mean, outside of family, this is going to probably be the main focus I have for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Well, now you're semi-retired.
I'm still working.
Okay.
The message I've made known to everyone. I was going to retire years ago. We had sold our house. We moved into the apartment we're in right now because I was planning on retiring, doing some traveling, this and that. But I continue working, and because of being where I am now, my work is going to help buy the cards I want.
Right.
Yeah.
And it has supported my hobby big time in the last year and a half. And I'm going to continue year to year to say, hey, when I finish my Jackie run, depending on what I'm going next to, and I'll elaborate what my plan is in a bit, I can see myself working possibly up to 70 because I want to spend 25, 50,000 a year on cards.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's great to be in the position to do that. And, yeah, I mean, to me, I'll be working that late just to pay off the mortgage on this place. But you get to, but no, that's great that you and hopefully it's a job that you enjoy doing. And then the added benefit, like you said, is you get to take maybe most of that money and put it into a hobby that you love. Your channel is growing. You're putting out videos. I think like you said, you enjoy doing that. So that's great.
Yeah, I'm telling you, we've all played a ton of sports in our lives. We've all been involved in groups and stuff like this. I have to say, this community is as good as any I've been with. I mean, you're talking from the perspective of a common goal and ground and respect and excitement. And it doesn't matter if it's a $20 card or a $2,000 card or a $50,000 card. Everyone is happy for everyone.
Oh, yeah.
And that's
like in our Airbnb, I think there was 11 of us. And I think we came from 9 different states. Yeah. I think there was 2 guys from Florida. And I forget.
Well, we got Hawaii. We got South Carolina. You had obviously Pennsylvania with you.
Right.
There was Arizona. You had California with Rick. New York, Eric Fourleaf.
Correct.
I know I'm missing 1 or 2. Oh, you had Blue Rock, Florida, and then
Mangini. Where is he? Is he South Carolina?
We have Connecticut with Picker Jim.
Yeah.
Mike Sticks and Seams is also from Florida, and then Scott from Ohio.
He's from Ohio. Yes.
And Derek from Michigan.
Yeah. So you said it, Don. In what life would we have thought? And for me, what life would I? Most of my close friends, and don't get me wrong, I still have friends up here, but most of the guys I talk to and communicate are now a part of this community, and it's only going to grow because of the common bond we share for something that we all love. And in this day and age, isn't that wonderful?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I take away from this. I mean, this is, I have a wife. I've been married. It will be 45 years this November.
Wow.
And
congratulations.
Thank you. And she I mean, I'm glad for her. I mean, I'm the lucky one. But the fact of the matter is, sorry, guys. The fact of the matter is, more than anything, is she loves me doing this. She knows that I'm not, everything is being taken care of by still working and taking care of that I don't have to take any funds outside of this. And that's what she does with her, she still works. She went back and worked part-time and she uses that to do what she enjoys. And we're both happy in what we're doing. So again, it comes down to purpose, and in this day and age, I mean, there's tough days at work, and there's tough days when you have family stuff and this and that, and we all go through the same stuff. But this is special. It's really special to me. So
well, plus it keeps you out of your wife's hair. I mean, you just basically, hey, I'm going. Oh, do whatever you want. That's my excuse. When I want to do something, hey, she's like, fine, just go. I don't.
You're 100% right. And every time when I'm saying I'm doing this, she says, great. She even asked me, you got a card show this weekend. And the ones up here are pretty ticky-tack. But she's 100% all in with everything I do. And that's super important.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you mentioned that you got your first Jackie at last year's Strongsville.
That's correct.
And you didn't go to last year's National in Chicago. So your next opportunity, at least in person, to pick something up was this year's Strongsville.
Well, no.
Okay.
No. So what I did was we had such a great time in Cleveland at Strongsville last year that Scott, Reindeer Studios, I believe Mike, Canadian Cards, was talking to him the next month of May. There was the Mainline Autograph Show in Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay.
So I believe, Don, you couldn't go that one last year.
We were taking my daughter back to college.
Bob Lewis ended up going there. I saw Bob and and a couple other gentlemen. But Mike said to me, he says, Stephen, he says, it's probably a 4.5 hour trip. We'll go down for the day and we'll come home at night. So we saddled up. We left at 4:30, got there around 9:30, went inside and picked up, had breakfast first, got into the show, did a bunch of stuff and drove back home. But that was the day I picked up some more. I picked up one more Jackie, plus I picked up a Ted Williams and some other stuff. So I just strictly, I'm not just getting Jackies. I'm still cherry picking other things along the way. But that was the show that, and Don, the reason I mentioned when we were talking earlier about your Bowman 1950, I ended up picking up my first Bowman. It's. I'm sorry for the lights, guys.
Oh, hey, don't worry.
Back, Stephen. There you go.
Yeah,
works.
There you go.
There. So it's a decent. The centering's pretty good. The corners are rounded, obviously, and the creasing. It's a 1.5. So I end up picking this one up. This was my second Jackie I picked up. And then, like I was saying to Don, because I remember last year how Don was going to sell a few of your cards, such as you done, Don, when I saw your 2.5, and I thought, ooh, yours is a sharp looking a beautiful looking 2.5.
Yeah, that's gorgeous.
Yeah,
that's a gorgeous.
Yeah, like creases.
Yep.
Centering's great. Corners have a little wear, but
that's a perfect card, Don.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's why. So that was my second card, and that was in Pittsburgh in it was May. So it was a month later from the first Strongsville. So I had here I'm getting some cards. I picked up some other things also from that show. That was my second Jackie card, and didn't go to the National. But that wasn't my last time going to the States.
Okay.
Because I end up going in September to Philadelphia.
Oh, the Philly show. Okay. So
the week before the Philly show in Philly, I'm thinking, you know what? I talked to Mike, see if he was interested. He couldn't make it happen. And I'm thinking, and I remember Sammy.
Passport again? Is that why?
Yeah, no doubt, eh? But I talked, Mike wasn't interested. And I thought to myself, for me driving, it didn't bother me, but I was going to go down. But then on following Sammy Thunder's show, I knew he was going down, and B-Rock Brian was setting up there. So I thought to myself, I said to my wife, do you mind if I were to go to Philadelphia? I would leave the Friday morning, come back the Sunday. So she said, absolutely not. Go ahead. She was not 100% all in because I was driving by myself. And I get that, and I would be driving early in the morning and stuff like that. So I said, no problems. I'll make sure when I stop, I'll text along the way and stuff like that. So off to Philly, I went on the Friday morning. I got up at 4, and I ended up getting in there probably at the hotel around 1 o'clock. And I stayed just on the outskirts of where the show was, like a 5-10 minute drive. And that's where I ended up getting my next card, my next 2 Jackie cards. And the one of my favorite Jackie cards, and it's because it's the 1947 Bond bread with the rounded edges.
Oh yeah,
that's awesome.
And it's an old label. It's a low grade because on the back there was some writing that was eliminated off. But it's just a gorgeous card. And it's one of the nicest one. And the story behind that card is really interesting, because getting into the Jackie cards, I really haven't gone all in checking everything out yet. I didn't go on VCP and database. I didn't get all the information. I was slowly getting into it. Probably 2 weeks to a month before going, sometime in August, I ended up watching, and I'm not sure if Mike mentioned to me to check out Blue Jacket 66 Dave's video he did on the 47 Bond bread. So it was interesting when I had no idea it was in existence. Right. So I watched the video and I thought, oh, that's a card I want. And obviously Dave's got a super sample of it in a high grade and one of the highest grades. But I thought, God, that's a beautiful card. No sooner I walk into Philly on the Friday, within the first half hour, I come to a dealer that has that card. And I'm going, oh my gosh, I just got introduced to this card just weeks ago from YouTube, this community. And I walk in there and I'm talking to a gentleman and he had it for a price. And after talking to him for about a half hour, he gave me a minimum price he could do. And I'm thinking to myself, geez, it's just early. Be careful. Don't get into it. So I walk around. I end up going to a dealer I knew from Canada who had set up down there because he had heavy in hockey. And I'm talking to him about it and I couldn't shut up about it. So he honestly, he says, Stephen, he goes to me, he says, when are you going to see that card again? And he's right. I've seen it online in the last half a year, but I've not seen it. I did see it at this year's National, but I'm thinking it's the first time I've seen it. And I'm thinking to myself, he says, you're not going to see it again. And it could be gone by tomorrow. Right. And I'm thinking, you know what? I'm going back and I'm going to make a play on that. So I went back there and I had him down to a price and I tried to get it at lower $100. And he says, listen, let's flip for it. No, pardon me, not flip. Rock, paper, scissors. So he beat me 2-0. I had to pay the extra $100, but I came away with the card, which I'm super happy.
Yeah, that's all that counts. That's what counts.
Yeah, that's great.
I have a memory about this card that will always be there, and that's why I think it holds a lot for me, because of the importance of it, the reason of it, and it just looks so old and so. I just love it. I really, really, truly do, and surprisingly, it was wonderful. So the other story for this was the first time I bought a card off Ash. I didn't buy anything at the Strongsville. On the Sunday morning, I ended up going back, and on my way out with Ash, I ended up picking up the 56 whiteback.
Okay. I prefer the whitebacks than the graybacks. I think they're somewhat common in terms of both versions, but that's a great looking card.
So I pick up the whiteback. So here I am 3 months into April, May, June, probably 5 months in. I have now picked up 4 Jackies.
I'm going to say you were off to a pretty good start.
Yeah.
So again, it went to a really good start, and I still had one more big show coming up, which was the Toronto Expo for up here in Canada. The Toronto Expo is the biggest show. They have it twice a year, And I end up picking up another Jackie, the 56 Grayback Jackie. I end up picking up the fit, and this is a beautiful card.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, let me get it centered better for you guys. The stupid light. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Like it's centered really, really well. It's a beautiful sample. It's in a 5, but so I had a really good year last year because I picked up a couple. I did end up getting one more Jackie last year through eBay, and it was the 54. And I picked it up, and I got that in a 3.
Really very nice. I love the yellow background on that.
Yes, and this similar to the obviously 55, 56s with the dual action and all that stuff. I mean, so I ended up picking that. So it was a really, really good year picking up the Jackies. So it got me on my way.
Yeah, I'd say. Yeah. Well, maybe we're maybe around the halfway mark, and so maybe before we get into 2024 and Strongsville and this year's Nationals and your acquisitions there, I know Don, you said you have maybe a couple trivia questions. I may have a couple here, and maybe we'll just take a
pause as more Orioles based. But here's one for you, John. So out of these Orioles, which Hall of Famer, or these 4 players, which Hall of Famer did not play for the Orioles? Roberto Alomar, Luis Aparicio, Harold Baines, or Vladimir Guerrero Sr.?
Vlad Sr.
Nope, they all played.
He played.
Oh, okay. I the first 3, I'm like, yep, I know. And I'm like, well, so Vlad Sr.
Yes.
There's a few other guys I didn't realize played for the Orioles, like Robin Roberts, Lee Smith. Forgot Tomey played for them.
Yep.
Tim Raines. Obviously Mussina and Murray and Frank and Palmer and Hoyt Wilhelm's another one.
Yeah. I think Wilhelm and I forget what the other one you said. Roberts, like at the very end of their career.
Yes, he did. Yes,
yeah.
Because I have one that he's part of my Oriole run.
I knew you would know him, Stephen. That's why I got him here.
But he's part of the Oriole run, yes.
Yep.
I almost threw Kurt Schilling in to see if John.
Yes.
Well, that was his rookie. That was
89. 89 Don Ross was his rookie year, I think.
Yeah. No, okay. You tricked me on that one. I had the 3. I just didn't realize that the 4th. Well, I have were those? Is that the trivia question you have?
Yeah.
All right. I have 3, and the reason why I picked 3 is I think 2 are fairly easy, and the third one may take just maybe a little bit of a thought to it, but and they're all related to Jackie Robinson. So the first one is, what was Jackie's middle name? And the hint is he was named after a U.S. president.
I know it.
Oh, you can't look, Don. Yeah, I know you. I saw you peeking. Stephen, with
Roosevelt.
The hand up first.
Roosevelt.
Yes. Which Roosevelt?
Teddy,
yes. Yeah, his middle name was named after Teddy Roosevelt. I figured that was an easy one because obviously it's on the back of all his cards and all that.
I wouldn't have known it.
Is it on the back of his cards?
Yeah.
Some of them, I don't know.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yep. All right. Yep. So that was, again, I figured that was an easy one to start off with. The second one is, who was the last Major League Baseball player to wear number 42 on their uniform? They retired 42 across baseball, but if that was your uniform, you could wear it until you retired and then no new players.
Well, I think I got it too. What do you say, Don?
Mariano Rivera.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
I did have 4 potential choices, but I didn't even have to give you that hint of the 4. So that was very, very well done.
Yep.
All right. This one may be the hardest. Jackie was never a pitcher or catcher, But what is the only other defensive position at which he never appeared in the majors? So what other position did he never play?
What were the first two that you said?
Well, he wasn't pitcher or catcher. So
Pitcher, okay.
minus pitcher or catcher, what other position, and there's only one, that he never played?
I'm going to go with center field.
I'm going to go with right field.
That was my second choice.
Don's the winner. Right off the bat, center field.
Yeah. I know he played outfield. I didn't know which ones of the three.
I knew he played first, but I figured he probably played short and third too at some point.
Yeah, I think he started out first.
Did he?
I think
Jackie.
He started at first and then he went to second. Then I think when Jim Gilliam came in, that's where they started to move him around in the 53, 54. I think Jim Gilliam, they wanted to keep him at second.
All right. Well done, both of you. I knew when I started looking up trivia questions for Jackie. I mean, some of them were ridiculously simple.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not going to insult anyone with those questions. So these were sort of like some of the hardest ones I could find. So
I never noticed. Like this says third base on it.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I never paid attention to that before.
And the 54 said outfield.
I was going to say, you can take me off, Joe.
Yeah.
The 53 says second base. Yep.
Yeah. So I always confuse the Hall of Famers in outfield positions, whether they played left, center, or right. Something I need to start, memorizing a little bit more. All right. So trivia questions out of the way. Let's start. So now we're into 2024. Stephen,
that's correct.
Your Jackie collection. So
two
Strongsville the first.
Yes. So Strongsville. So basically, holding off, getting into 2024. I had a really good 23 with the pickups I had. So now I'm into 2024. I'm going to Strongsville. My whole focus on Strongsville was the 48-49 Leaf. Now that focus was there for that card, but I also had probably 6, 7 other ones, depending on the price point, depending on obviously the eye appeal and stuff like that. So I went in on the Friday of Strongsville. We got John Mike. Mike didn't go because of his passport, got eaten by his dog. So I ended up taking the trip, making it up myself. So I got to Strongsville that morning. I walked into the lobby, saw a bunch of fellow YouTubers. I think we met first. That was the first time we had met face to face. John, was that Friday morning, I believe. Yep. Overwhelming because again, I go back to seeing all the guys I've watched videos of and trying to talk and everyone's, a lot of relationships have already been formed. So I kind of felt like on the outside in the sense of not trying to gain some familiarity with everyone. I don't think I had seen you yet, Don. I don't think I seen you possibly the meet and greet. I think it was Friday night.
I don't remember, to be honest.
Yeah, I remember sitting down. We were chatting for a bit because you were wheeling and dealing with some of your cards at the one table we were sitting at.
Right.
But again, meeting a ton of YouTubers, which again makes the whole weekend. The cards are wonderful, and I'm so happy with the cards. But there's nothing better at the stage of where I am. It's about friendships. Finally seeing. I was actually excited. I felt like a little kid. I'll be honest. I'm meeting some of my role models, guys who have great channels, who have great content, have unbelievable collections.
That leaves you out, John.
Yeah.
And it was so special. So I was tickle pink. So even just going to the show, I'm pretty amped up. So I go there. I walk the floor. I see probably 6, 7, 8 48 leaf cards, because they're not, it's not as if you don't see them.
Right.
But the ones I've seen, some were a lot higher price, some were a lot higher grades, but nothing stopped me. Nothing where I looked at it. I don't think I asked one dealer, because it just didn't seem the price point to the card that I liked if I could look at it closer.
It didn't speak to you. You didn't see where you had to stop and say, I need a closer look at that card. Yeah.
Exactly. And when we're talking about that card, it's different when you're talking about a $400 or $500 card, or you're talking about a $10,000, $5,000, $15,000, whatever. And you said it right, John. It just didn't speak to me. And so, and they were nice cards. Don't get me wrong. And they're going to fit well in someone's collection, but from the dollar value, the price point, it didn't grab me. So I'm walking by. I'm almost finished my whole lap of the arena, being the size it was, which was just, I thought it was really, really well set up. I came across a dealer, and I saw one. And I looked at it, and it stopped me that I looked at it, and I kind of kept staring at it, and I'm looking at it in a case. I'm talking to the dealer a little bit, and we're communicating back and forth and stuff like that. And then I asked him, can I take it out and look at it, please? So this is probably 10, 15 minutes after, because I asked him about the card. I mean, where'd you get the card? Just to try to get some type of, because it's an expensive card for me to buy. So I'm thinking about it, and he shows me. And when he showed me, and I'll bring it up in a sec, but talking to him, once he showed me, I'm sitting there, and I think this is an absolute gorgeous card.
Yeah.
So. I saw it in person. It's a stunner.
I mean, I'm telling you, I'm even now just touching it, it's making me sweat. I love this card. I love it because of everything about it. So I looking at the card, and I'm talking to the guy, and this is around 3:30 by now. So I end up going out. I says, okay, thank you very much. I had him. I asked him, where are you at? What are you thinking? And he says, he gives me a price, and I'm thinking, in my head, I'm thinking we're close. So I go outside. I sit down, and this is older lady, probably younger than me, beside me, and she hears me talking to myself and all this stuff, and she mentioned her husband's in the card show too. She's just out catching a breather, and I tell her about my story with this card and all that, and she entertains me because I'm pretty excited. So I phoned my wife, and I said, listen, honey, I said, I found the card I came down for. I told her roughly what the price is, where he's at right now, what I'm going to attempt to do. And she says, well, sounds like you got your mind made up, so why don't you just go get it? So I get off the phone, I go back in, and I start working with the dealer, and I get to a point where I told him I was at. He told me where he's the best he can do, and before he could say another word, I said, meet me halfway. He sat there for a minute. He thought about it, because halfway was $500. And I says, if you can meet me halfway here, I'm good. So he came down another $500, and we shook on it. I got the card, and it's just a beautiful card.
Yeah.
So and it's just a beautiful story. It was the one card I got. I ended up picking up two little small ones later, a 52 Topps Dobie and a 51 Bowman Campanella, because I was almost tapped out with what this cost me. Right. And John, the rest of the show, I was Friday night. Yeah. I was just excited. I was like a boy. I almost slept with it. So it was, and it's one of the big cards of Jackie that is off that list now.
Yeah,
which really helps. So. Yeah, it was big, and it was probably one of the biggest reasons it means so much to me. The Philly Bond Bread is spectacular and means a lot to me because of the story and how everything goes. This card, I will always remember this card because of the community, because I got to share it, a special card, a big expensive card for me, an iconic card that I believe, and I got to share it with everyone in Strongsville.
Yeah.
And then
that's
on my channel.
One of the things I enjoy about I've been to one Strongsville, and now since I've been on YouTube, I think it's maybe three nationals, is I get I pick up some cards, but I enjoy just asking what others have picked up and seeing what they've picked up and seeing the smile on their face. They're going, man, I've been looking for this card, or check out this card and stuff. I get such enjoyment from seeing others' pickups and how excited they are. And which is why when we had a chance at the national to walk around and see you deal and knowing what you wanted, and you're like, and just because your thought process was very similar to mine when I was negotiating. He's like, okay, now if I could do this, if I can do that, and if I can get this one down here, I can maybe go after this one. And so two of us went around and you did your wheeling and dealing, and I think you picked up the 3 items that you were looking for, I think, on that I think it was on the Friday.
Yeah.
And so if you want to, I don't want to take you.
So we're off to the national, right, John?
Yep.
Okay. So the national, we get there. This time Mike gets to come. His passport's in, and we drive down. We get there a day early, so we're having dinner, lunch. We're talking this and that, and then it's time to go the Wednesday afternoon. Later in the Wednesday, after looking at a couple things and basically not pulling any triggers yet, I came across where I would go talk to Ash. I go to Ash's table, and he had two cards, and I went to the national with the goal of the 52 tops or the 49 Bowman. So I'm thinking if I do the 52 tops, I'm in the same boat I was in Strongsville, that I'm going to be tapped out, which I'm fine. That's because that's the plan. Because if I get the 52 tops, it's another big boy off the list. Well, I go to Ash's table on the Friday night. Mike texts me. He says, Stephen, there's a beautiful Bowman, 49 Bowman here. Now, he said, come on down. So this is around 7:30, just before it's going to close at 8. So I go down there, and right there, I see the 49 Bowman, and it's in a 5. It's a little more than what I thought I might be getting into, but right beside it was even another spectacular card, which was the 48 R346 blue tint Jackie. So I will show both of them now that I picked up. So I got, first of all, is the 49 Bowman.
Yeah, that's wonderful colors on that.
Oh, the colors are fantastic. Now, the side-to-side's really decent. The top to bottom is probably 65-35, maybe 70-30. But I'm okay with that. So it's a beautiful card. But this one, again, like the Bond Bread, I'm looking at it. And this one, I'm thinking to myself, oh my, I've never seen this.
Yeah. I didn't realize you got that card.
Yeah. I never seen it. So this is the blue tint, and it's in an authentic because all the blue edges, there's blue edges, but it's not all of it there. It was cut, but it's cut perfect. It is super clear. It is a gorgeous card. So I talked to Ash, I talked to the boys, and I end up getting a spectacular deal. I probably got 15% off by packaging it together. So here I am. I'm thinking to myself, I got the 2 cards. I'm still in play for a bunch of other things. Now, if I had got the 52 tops, I might have not have been in play. So I used Thursday mainly as a day to hunt. So I did that, and then Friday comes, and talked to John Thursday night. I got a ride with John to the funny story, John, if you remember. John ended up picking me up at a light post hanging outside of the hangar of the show when I was sitting there waiting for my ride. John pulls up. He says, Steve, what you doing? I says, well, I'm waiting for Mike to pick me up, but I think he's in a traffic jam. He says, well, why don't you come with me? Because we're heading over to the meet and greet. So I get on the phone. I phone Mike. Mike, John's here. I'm heading over to John. You just go direct there. No big deal. That's how we do it. So John and I were talking in the car. And we talked a little bit, I believe, outside the hotel with Snoop and Aaron, but at nighttime with the drinks and all that. But I think this is the first time when we really started chatting individually for the most part. You're telling me some of your stories. I'm telling you some of my stories. You had mentioned that Friday morning you had a plan, hence the same type of thing I was thinking. And who knows, I might have got that type of idea from you. But you had a plan that if you do this, you did this, you got this, you're in play for this and this. I mean, you showed the spectacular musical you picked up.
Yep.
Did you pick that up the Thursday or Friday?
That was actually a Wednesday.
So it was
the Ted Williams, then it was the 55 Spawn and Aaron, and then the 67 Rose.
So seeing that, so we're talking. So you're passing on how you're here, but you got a plan for this, and this. If I pick this up, I can still get this and this. So you had it all basically laid out how you wanted to make it work. Mm-hmm. You go in, you say, Stephen, if this happens throughout the day, if this happens, we're going to hit it like that and do this. So that's what happened. You got your Friday like this. Then you continued talking. We talked more. So the Friday, I didn't do a lot on the Friday. I was planning on stuff. And then we met up later on. Again, the Friday night where we were talking, you did what you needed to do.
I spent all my money. I was all done.
You did it, and you said, Stephen, I told you what I was planning for Saturday, the cards I was looking at. Now, we did the Friday night. We did do a little bit for Friday night because the Friday night, was it the Friday night, John, or the Saturday morning? Saturday morning.
I think it was Saturday morning.
Yes. Saturday morning, we talked Friday night, and I mentioned about the Star Cow decals. Mm-hmm. And if I
can that on Friday.
Pardon me?
You had that on Friday.
Yeah. Did I have that Star Cow on Friday?
Yeah, because I saw it. You showed it.
I did. So I think, John, you knew that I bought this on the Friday. You're right, Don.
I was there with you. I got my purchases done, and you met back up.
Yes.
And then I walked around with you the rest of the day Friday, and you said, I got to show you this decal, and you made the deal for it.
So that's correct. So Friday, and I'll show you this one right here now, is the decal.
Yeah, I want the musical of that. So bad.
I'm telling you.
In nice shape. That's great.
Yeah.
So this is
like you said earlier, you showed me that leaf that you picked up in Strongsville.
Yeah.
You came right up to me at that dinner and showed me that card, and just the excitement you had. I felt so.
Yes.
You couldn't stop grinning from ear to ear both times. And it wasn't like a cocky thing at all. It was just like, man, look what I got. And I was so happy for you. Like the excitement that you had.
You're 100% right, Don. And everyone, I was, again, so I'm really, really happy. So similar to that, to the leaf. And again, I think the leaf is the best thing I've had because of the whole situation, the way it worked. The first time experience with everyone, I just spoke about it. But then with the Star Cow, when we did that on the Friday night, John, we talked. Now I'm in play because of I picking this one up and I got a decent price. The dealer was wonderful. You gave him props for you did a video where you gave him props and all this stuff. Yep. And he was just wonderful. He worked with me. So getting that card left me in play for a bunch of other ones for Saturday morning. That's when John and I talked about here's the plan for Saturday morning. We end up going together Saturday morning. We get there. We go and do our thing. And I end up picking up four other things. I'll go through them quickly. I picked this Burke Ross up. I went, John, didn't I go and get the photograph first?
I think you got the photograph first, because that was, if you could figure out, again, if you got that at a decent price, then that put you in play for some of the other things you were looking for.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a really cool photograph.
So this is a 1956 Type 1 authentic original photograph, Brooklyn Dodgers, New York Times, with the preparation for the World Series.
That's so cool. And
it's got the 9 players on it, which includes Gil Hodges, Pee Wee Reese, Snyder, Campanella, and Jackie. And Walter Austin's the guy leading them on the field. It's a Type 1, and it's beautiful. So with getting this, left me in play for a couple other cards that John had just mentioned. I think I went right from that one, and I went to pick up, and at this time, Orlando had joined us, right, John?
Yeah. Yep.
At this time, Orlando had joined us, and I was talking about, remember the day before, John, we went to look at this card the day before?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I talked to the dealer, and he mentioned the price, and before I could even say a sentence, he grabbed the card and put it back into his case. And John and I looked at each other, and it's like, I guess he doesn't want to sell it to me.
He gave, it was like a $50 offer or whatever like that. And as soon as you had some sort of like, well, I don't know, he goes, okay. And then just put it back. Like he didn't even say like, well, what do you think? No desire like to negotiate. It was weird.
And that was a Friday night, right, John?
Yeah.
So Saturday morning, after getting the photo and Orlando joining us, I says, I'm going to see if I can get this card. So talking with John and Orlando, and believe me, the help you gave me, John and Orlando, with you two guys being there, was just spectacular. It meant the world to me, because it's nice to have, it's like you're not outnumbered anymore. You have a group. You have people who are seeing things that you may not see. So we go back and we talk to the dealer, and it's funny this time because the same dealer that couldn't put the card back in his case fast enough on Friday, I asked to look at it again. Orlando thought it was spectacular. John thought it was spectacular. The color, it was only a grade of a 4, but the colors and the bend of the fold was so smooth.
Yeah.
It looked spectacular. So both Orlando and John goes, offer him $700. Because, okay, so I turned back. I said to him, because he wanted 8. So the money's out, but that's irrelevant. And I looked at him. I says, would you take $700 cash? And it's like he flipped the switch from the night before. He says, yep.
Yeah.
And I got it. It was just wild.
Yeah.
So I end up picking that up, and by this time I'm getting lower and lower. I got a couple more things on the agenda. I got one more I was going to look for, and that was the golden stamp, which I got for a couple $100, which was a beautiful little card also. But the last thing of the show, which was special for me, was when we went back to the other side, John, if you remember, when Orlando, you and I went back there, and I was going to pick up a Notre Dame jersey signed by Rudy, the lore of Rudy in that with Notre Dame. And I also was going to package it with a autograph photo of the sign they have, like play like a champion. And I don't have them here to show because I've taken them since. So I wanted to purchase that for my son. Mm-hmm. So we went over there, and it was so special. And I'll tell you why it was special having guys like John and Orlando there. It could have been other YouTubers, but having guys with you, what makes this special, because they add value to your thoughts. And people they can really give you the added things of buying or not buying, which is special because we all get in the zone sometimes, right? So we go there,
takes over.
Yes, well, it does. And we get over there, and the gentleman goes, he brings over the photo. Now, the jersey was right there, but when he brought the stack of photos over, underneath on the bottom wasn't just a sign. There was a different photo of Rudy, and it's a 16 by 20 photo of Rudy being carried off the field, autograph with the score, the play he was on, and how they drew it on and all this stuff. And soon as the guy slid the top one off, and we seen that, both John and Orlando says, Steven, that's the one. You got to get that one. And it's like, soon as listening to them, I thought, holy shit, you're right. It was just wonderful. So this is the value of having our peers with us. It means so much. And I was so excited, and they shared it with me. And that's everything this hobby means to me.
It's always nice spending other people's money.
Hey,
you need to buy that. You need to buy
it was a little bit more, but I got a good deal on it.
Yeah.
It was double the cost of the other one, double the price of the one that I was originally looking at.
I think you got a great photo there. That was just, yeah.
Again, and I might have not had the same thought, because it was a no-brainer. As soon as John and Orlando says, oh yeah, that's the one. It's like a light went on. Ding, that's the one. It was amazing. So my experience at this show and getting the cards I purchased was elevated so greatly because of you guys, because of the community. Yeah. And that's why it's so special to me. That's why you guys are so special to me. Yeah. And the friendships and the bonds, the emails and texts I've been sending since then, it's just wonderful.
Yeah, it really is. And I'm glad you said that. And I think that's a good way to end it here. Mm-hmm. Just talking about how great the community is. And that's why we love doing this show. We try to get a variety of people on, and really enjoyed having you on, Steven.
I thank you. I thank both of you guys so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to expose myself and to tell you how much I appreciate you guys in the community. This is what makes this special. It's so important.
Yeah. Well, that again, as Don said, we like having guests on, just listening to their passion about their collection. And it could be, we've covered so many different topics about collecting. And you can just tell the passion that our guests have. And you certainly have a passion for the hobby, for the community, and for the cards in your collection. So again, thank you again, Steven, for coming on as our guest. And as a reminder, I will have Steven's link to his channel in the description of this video. Definitely go check Steven with a PH channel out. And with that, we appreciate you hanging around and listening to Steven tell his Jackie Robinson stories. And until next time, thanks everyone for watching.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.